Hello, my name is Timothy Taylor. Today we're going to be going over the effects of BCAA supplementation on perceived fatigue. This study is coming from the European Journal of Applied Physiology and is coming from Professor Watson in 2004. So first things first, BCAA supplementation, what are they? Branched-chain amino acids, or BCAAs, are a very common sports supplement in today's market and it's worth millions of dollars. BCAA supplementations are often taken uh, due to their well-documented effects on muscle protein synthesis, especially due to their leucine content. Supplement itself, of course, containing the three essential branch chain amino acids. Essential meaning you don't make them yourself, so that you have to ingest them through your diet. These amino acids being leucine, isoleucine, and valine. Um, so while they notably increase muscle protein synthesis, the effects of the BCAAs on exercise capacity and fatigue remain an active area of research. For Dr. Watson's test, he uh, got 8 males who were recruited to cycle until exhaustion while blood was drawn and analyzed every 15 minutes in order to focus on and analyze the concentrations of different compounds circulating in their blood during the exercise. Specifically, as you'll see, tryptophan and ammonia. Okay, so here are some graphs gathered from the study. On the left, you can see the tryptophan levels compared to the BCAA levels. Why is this important? Well, because free tryptophan in the blood is converted into serotonin once it enters the brain, leading to that idea of uh, perceived fatigue during exercise, right? However, tryptophan is not actually able to cross the blood-brain barrier from the blood to the brain itself. It uses a carrier protein, a specific carrier protein. That same carrier protein is also used by BCAAs to enter the brain. Therefore, the idea being the higher levels of BCAA, or I guess I should say the lower levels of tryptophan to BCAA, the less tryptophan will actually be getting into the brain due to that competition. So that's what we can see uh, over on these left two, the blue and the red. Um, of course, taking BCAAs resulted in higher amounts of BCA and therefore lower ratios, but it also did decrease the amount of free tryptophan, which I'll show you why on the next slide. But that ratio is what is important because of that competition for entering. On the contrary, as you can see on the right, BCAA supplementation drastically increased the ammonia levels in the blood, which is kind of on the contrary to the tryptophan, can have some negative connotations to it, as hyperenemia, aka having too much ammonia in your blood, is known to cause fatigue and lethargy, and can be kind of contradictory um, to what BCAAs might be doing to uh, that tryptophan BCAA ratio. But as far as I'll show you on the next slide, as far as tryptophan is concerned, the overall, as you can see on the left of part B, the overall amount of tryptophan did decrease. And part of this is because during exercise, your body is, using up a lot of energy. And what it's going to do initially is it's going to oxidize some of these proteins that are circulating in your blood and use them as energy. However, as you can see, after extended periods of use, your body has to start mobilizing different energy stores, one of these being fatty acids. Now, normally tryptophan is bound to this protein in your blood called albumin. Okay. However, when those fatty acids start circulating, they will start binding to the places on albumin that tryptophan is usually bound. And so now they're competing for space on the albumin, taking off some of that tryptophan, and therefore more circulating tryptophan, there's more serotonin that's able to be made, and therefore more perceived fatigue. So that's why, or at least suggested why, the overall free tryptophan levels in the blood decreased. So some of my concluding remarks from this. Uh, the overall test was ultimately to see whether or not the cyclists in the test would cycle for longer when they were supplemented with BCAAs. And the it did not produce uh, a significant increase in exercise capacity, which could possibly be due to only having eight subjects. Which, if you wanted to detect a more subtle increase, obviously you would need more participants. It's also important to note that the study was done under some specific conditions uh, to try to test previous research done before it. Um, Really, the only research that had actually shown an increase in exercise capacity uh, after supplementing BCAAs did it under very specific conditions, where the participants had been glycogen depleted uh, on a special like diet and fasting before, and also doing it in like 30 degrees Celsius, like very warm. So it was successful in challenging those for it. And ultimately, one of the conclusions that was drawn is it doesn't prolong exercise capacity. And a possible reason for this is the contradiction of the ammonia and tryptophan levels. How the tryptophan might actually be good for the perceived fatigue, but the ammonia might be offsetting it. But it is important to note these changes. Thank you very much.